Well, I have to say it. Good morning, Portland.
Good morning.
Whether you are here with us in the room or you're in a Zoom room or a Facebook room, we are glad that you have decided to join us and moving into the upper room. There's a power and a presence. It's the life in you and me. Each of us a celebration of the truth that sets us free. Yeah. May the circle be unbroken by and by. We are spirits of creation in the light, yeah, in the light. Well, my awareness of God's presence lifts me up and fills my soul. I'm inspired and enlightened. I am healthy, healed, and whole. So may the circle be unbroken by and by. We are spirits of creation in the light, yeah, in the light. I know that I am here to be a vessel. I am here to lend a hand. Where there's sorrow, let me comfort, and where there's fear, I'll take a stand. Oh, may the circle be unbroken by and by. We are spirits of creation in the light, yeah, in the light. May the circle be unbroken by and by. We are spirits of creation. We're in the light, yeah, in the light. I think we need to do that again. May the circle be unbroken by and by. You know, we are spirits of creation. Oh, in the light, yeah, in the light. We're in the light, yeah, in the
Wow, welcome home, Reverend Sydney. Welcome home.
Oh, thank you.
And TJ and Sean, I think it's been since March of 2020. We are so grateful. Thank you to our glory singers. Thank you, and welcome to all of you, both in this space and around this globe, as we recognize that there is an unbroken circle. It's the circle of love. It's the circle of life. It's the circle of the truth of who we are. And this circle lives in and through and as us now. So as we gather this morning, I am just inviting you to remember that that circle is the truth of who you are individually. And by any chance this week, if you have felt outside of a circle or outside of the wholeness of this universe, of the truth of who you are, I invite you to move into your heart space. There is a space of remembering, a sacred space of the infinite that holds us, that lifts us, that loves us. And as we begin this service in prayer, let's move into this space. Oh, Mother, Father, God, infinite Spirit, we say yes. Here I am. I recognize this one presence and one power that lifts me, enfolds me, reminds me of the truth of who I am, and I allow myself to be that channel, the channel that moves, that lives, that loves, that touches the universe. For I have come as a channel, as a movement of love this day, for this opportunity to be a part of the larger circle, the unbroken circle of humanity, a humanity remembering the truth that each of us is whole, infinite, and complete. I am so grateful. We gather here and we allow that love that we are to encircle this globe. Every being, everywhere, we know you are infinite, whole, and complete. And we are so blessed to gather in this knowing, to allow this word to move around this globe. We are blessed, and so it is. Amen. And we just welcome you into the circle with a mission of transforming lives that transform the world. We are going to, and Beth is going to go ahead and share with you some of what's happening. All right. You need the mic.
Good morning. Hey, first I want to thank the leaf rakers and the coffee makers from last week. Thank you for getting it done. Yes, it was a great first pass on the parking lot over there, so we appreciate all of you. And just a quick note about that volunteering. If you have filled out a green card in the last few months, and if you have checked that volunteering box, you are going to receive a Sign Up Genius email this week that lists all of our holiday services. We need extra hands on deck in the upcoming weeks, so I'm putting it out there. Look for that email. If you're planning to join our spiritual community with your membership, next Sunday is the member orientation class following the service, followed by New Member Sunday on the 28th. If you have not filled out an actual application for membership, please do so today so we know your intentions for joining us next week. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, we will be holding a celebration of life for Billy Mixer. We hope that all of you will go grab some lunch, come back, and celebrate this beautiful soul with us, with Reverend Sidney. That's this afternoon at 2 o'clock. You've got one more Sunday to bring in candles for our upcoming gratitude services. These are used candles. We've got a basket to collect them out on the table. It's also the last Sunday to sign up for a Christmas wreath. This is our Teens Wreath fundraiser, and it sends them to camp. It does all kinds of wonderful things for them, and it also helps us support a wonderful small family farm that does the wreaths for us. So it's a win-win for everybody. Next Saturday at 7:30, the Men's Santori group, they're a chorus that have been practicing here in our building on Wednesday nights. They're going to be doing a concert here next Saturday at 7:30. So come and get a little culture and enjoy some beautiful music. That's 7:30 here in the sanctuary. Next Sunday, we have a new meditation class that's starting. Jeff Krimmel's going to be meeting downstairs at 9:45. This is a silent meditation, and not a guided one like we do at 10:30 here in the sanctuary, but you'll be able to finish with that one in plenty of time to get up here in order to do that one as well if you like. So you can join Jeff next week. That's at 9:45 a.m. downstairs. We have some 40-day of gratitude booklets available. If you didn't pick one up last week, we've got them out on the tables. Make sure you grab one on your way out today. I want to mention that the men's and women's group, they're both meeting next Saturday, the 20th, here. They meet downstairs. Men's group is at 9 a.m. Women's group is at 1 p.m. Let's see, the book sale continues today for our postage for the shipments of books to Nigeria. We've got 2 more weeks of that. Make sure you check out the books that are available in the North Lobby. Alice has a wonderful variety of books, and they're pretty well priced. Also, if you're interested in getting calendars for Christmas gifts, Alice is offering 20% off in the bookstore for all your pre-orders, so make sure you do that. Okay, You know, the job just gets more interesting by the day. Got a couple awkward announcements, but I'm just going to power right through them. First of all, masks. I have to mention masks. We're all tired of wearing them, okay? We are. However, things are not done yet, and we here at Unity of Portland are going to continue to wear masks while we're in the building, while we're congregating. That means covering both your nose and your mouth.
Is this right?
That is right. Modeled perfectly. It also means while you're downstairs eating and drinking, we would really like for you to wear the mask in between your drinks and your bites. That would help us a lot. If you'd like to have a conversation unmasked, you can do it outside. We have a beautiful garden. It's a pretty nice day for that. So you can take advantage of that. If these things are not happening, you can expect someone to kindly and gently ask you to do so. It's not personal, it's not about you, it's about protecting our community and those who are less vulnerable. We had free cassettes available out on the table. Apparently someone mistakenly took a globe that was a Unity artifact here for many years, thinking that it was a free item. Bring it home. If you were the person who took it, if you're virtual out there and you have it, just bring it home. No questions asked, just bring it back, put it back on the table. We love and appreciate you for doing that. Thank you so kindly. Have a great week. Thanks.
I think Beth just got out more announcements in the last 5 minutes than I've ever seen. Thank you. Thank you for all of that information. What a blessing. We also want to let you know that so if this community works for you, we would encourage you to become a part of it. It reminds us on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, to have that spiritual practice and to remember the truth of who we are. If this community does not work for you, we encourage you to continue seeking. We believe that there is a place that will support each person in anchoring and in being exactly who they are. I just want to invite you for a moment, if you're new, to raise your hand. Anybody here for the first time, or you haven't been here in a long time? Wonderful. We are so happy to have you with us. Blessings, blessings, blessings on your journey. All right, and we are going to start our meditation process. So I just want to welcome up Reverend Diane and say, what a blessing this day is.
Is there a congregation song?
Oh, yes. I'm not used to doing this order.
You haven't changed
we're
that
gonna
much,
sing,
have you?
Yes, Diane. Okay, we're going to stand and sing. I forgot. Thank you. I'm not even looking at
Up, up to a higher place. Up, far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up to a higher place. Up, far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, yeah, higher place. I feel my soul rising to my higher place. Up to a higher place. Up, far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Oh, yes. And while we can't shake each other's hands, I just invite you to look around this room and recognize you are walking with the sacred. Humanity in all of its forms and all of its beauty, we are truly one. We are so blessed. And we are going to begin. And just as we take a seat, we get this opportunity to remember that the places where we open to the silence, to the truth of our being, continue to bless us.
Peace be still and know. Peace be still and know. Peace be still and know. Peace be still and know.
I'm going to set this up with a little bit of information on immortality from the Science of Mind textbook by Dr. Ernest Holmes. It is human to grieve over the loss of dear ones. We love them and cannot help missing them. But a true realization of the immortality and the continuity of the individual soul will rob our grief of hopelessness. We shall realize that they are in God's keeping and they are safe. We shall know that loving friends have met them and that their life still flows on with the currents of eternity. We shall feel that we have not lost them. They have only gone before. So we shall view eternity from the higher standpoint as a continuity of time, forever and ever expanding, until time, as we now experience it, shall be no more. Realizing this, we shall see in everyone a budding genius, a becoming God, an unfolding soul, an eternal destiny. And so as we contemplate a bigger life, an expanded experience of expression, we go within right now to hold close in our hearts anyone we might be missing right now, and replace the missing with a sense of close proximity, because we are one in God. We are one in eternality. We are one and can never be separated. And we are at peace with our relationship with the whole. And so in the silence, we remember, we love, and we contemplate the eternality of this Spirit. And now we fill our hearts with a sense of love and closeness and gratitude for all who have gone before, and gratitude for our own immortality, to know that we will always be who we are, and we will always be an expression of the one God, unlimited, free to express and create forever and ever. And so it is.
Peace be still and know. 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 Sometimes your life needs to fall apart before it can all fall together. Sometimes you have to weather storms if you want your deepest dreams to grow. And when your journey seems too long and it's more than you can stand, I'll help you remember that you're still part of the plan. 'Cause you gotta have fire for the phoenix to rise. You've gotta have darkness so the day can reveal its holy light. But through it all, I'm here with you. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I will hold the truth for you. You're part of the plan. Sometimes your doubts seem to bury you, and looking through them is more than you can do. Sometimes the weight of your worries, but no one is an island and hard all alone. 'Cause you're gonna have fire. The phoenix has gotta rise. You're gonna have darkness so the day can can reveal its holy Lamb. And you're not wrong, you're just overwhelmed. And your enough made up till now has brought you here today. Makes her rise, you're gonna have done through it all. I will hold the truth for you.
It's changing still. Here we are again, facing the holidays, still trying to figure out how family and friends and suits on. And just love old Uncle Joe's tipsy, talkative narratives as unconditionally as we possibly can. But what if our holidays also include grief on top of our typical familial challenges? What if you are the one who is grieving, or someone you love very much has a great loss to face this holiday season? Now, many of us have experienced loss of a loved one during this past couple of years, from COVID or otherwise. This church community, as you know, has recently lost a beloved friend and musician, Billy Mixer, recently, whose life we plan to celebrate today at 2 p.m., if you care to join us. Transitions and changes, loss and death are an inevitable part of life. Yes, today my message is going to be about death and other fun holiday subjects. Holidays are precisely why I wanted to address the subject of loss, because grief is often amplified during the happy, merry time of year. Now, grief can be very, very beautiful as well as painful at the same time. It can be more beautiful if we are willing to address it with a very open heart and allow ourselves to be sensitive and vulnerable to whatever comes up inside around loss. Now, grief isn't always about the death of a loved one, be that loved one human or animal. The loss of a life is just one form of loss. Loss of a job, and there's been a lot of that going around. Loss of some part of one's identity, one's station, one's status. Loss of a fully functioning body, maybe through aging or accident or dis-ease. Loss of a dream. All those things and more can cause us to lose ground, lose our center, question our beliefs, question God, question the existence of God. Now, because grief is a very common experience entertained by all of us at one time or another, many times over a lifetime, wouldn't it behoove us to learn maybe some more healthy ways to address grief when it becomes a part of our story? Life is a story, always in the making and remaking, always being rewritten and edited. Life is a very creative endeavor, always in the activity of creation or motion, never stagnant, never dull, always changing. Now, in the Western world, we are not very good about handling loss. We can't even talk about it, some of us. Our culture trains us not to cry, at least not in public, for heaven's sake. Not to have our experience, to shut down and to buck up. Our culture encourages us to keep on keeping on. Fake it till you make it. Get over it. Or get on with it. I say stop. Instead of resisting grief and its process, and it is a process, what if we learned instead to respect grief? Instead of resisting grief, respect grief. Just pause and respect the existence and the experience of grief. During the holidays, if you've had a loss, as we meet up again with family and friends this year, the tendency might be to try to keep a smile on your face and pretend like you're okay and nothing has really happened. Or maybe you will decide you can't face people yet and shut down and hide in your bed and stay home, declining invitations and outings. Now, I'm not here to make you wrong about either of those choices, but I'm going to ask you to judge for yourself what is healthiest for you. And most of all, when you figure that out, let the rest of us know what to do and how to treat you. Not only does the one grieving have the responsibility to choose healthfully how to do it, but those of us who are not grieving get to learn to respect everyone's process who is grieving. Now, there is no right way or wrong way to grieve. There's no too long a period of time to grieve. There's no too short a period of time to grieve. When Lee, my spouse, died, it was right after I retired from formal church ministry. Even though I chose to retire, there was a loss of identity I experienced, a change in my identity, and it was exacerbated by the immediate loss of my spouse of 23 years. And we had just purchased a new home in a new state where I knew only one person. I really had the experience of tabula rasa, blank slate. Who was I? Without a career title and used to hearing everyone calling me Reverend Diane or my nickname, Rev Di. It was my name, and name means nature. My nature was Reverend Diane. So, and who was I without a partner? An other, significant to every aspect of me, who had accompanied me everywhere in every way. Who was I to be? What was I to do? Who was I to turn to? Even my mother died on me the year before. Now, all of my experiences are not unique. All of these sensations and realizations and questions are human norms. I had probably walked over 100 people through these kinds of losses as a minister. Shouldn't I know how to do it for myself? Well, I did, intellectually, but grief is not an intellectual process. It did, knowing these things that I know, made it a lot easier and kinder and gentler. So that's the reason I would like to share some of the things that I have learned that might make your process, or the one your loved one is going through right now, of loss, make the process a little easier. Let me share a story illustrating what not to do. Because I am a minister, one of my former congregants seemed to think I should be done grieving after 7 years. At lunch one day, I was sharing with her, let's call her June, and she is now deceased herself. I was sharing with her some beautiful experience that I had had with Lee when we were traveling one time. And while I was sharing it, I was quite in it. And I started to tear up a little bit. And she said, "Wow, are you still grieving, Reverend Diane?" I sat still for a moment. Beautiful memory, intimate sharing, dead on the ground. And I said, "Of course I still grieve. I loved him, and I lost him." She didn't get any of that, so she pursued it further. "But how many years ago was that?" I didn't answer that one, because a response could have been defensive, educational, or I could have popped her one. And I didn't want to waste breath. So here it is, interestingly. June had lost her husband maybe 4 years or so before me. She shared, "Well, I stopped grieving as soon as his things were out of the house," as if she were proud to have stopped grieving so quickly. And we'll just pause right there, because June's husband was an alcoholic, and he was abusive verbally and had anger issues that were scary. And I know that because a long time before this lunch, she had come to me for counsel. And I think she forgot that she had shared that history with her husband with me. June experienced great relief more than grief when her husband passed. His possessions went out the door, and his angry abuse went with it. That would be relieving. Now, I am not judging her grief or her lack of it, but the concept I'm trying to relay here is, don't ever think you know for a minute how another person should feel or shouldn't feel, how long a person should grieve or stop grieving. Now, if 7 years after Lee's death I was not functioning well, if I was debilitated with grief, if I stayed home for 7 years and never came out, then I would hope you would intervene, please. The fact is, if I still get sentimental and cry or feel sorry for myself occasionally, the best thing I need or I could ask for is a hug. You don't even need words for something like that. And you can remind me of our relationship and my worth to you. Don't judge me. Don't scold me. And don't tell me what to do or what not to do. Just let me and listen. Do you see the difference? You and I cannot judge another's grief process, but we can discern what might help them move forward in their life in love. The best practice I know when you don't know what to say is to fill yourself up with love. Now, whatever comes out of your mouth with the intention of love, it doesn't matter. And the same is true with our own grief and taking care of ourselves and how we conduct ourselves with ourselves. Love is the answer there, too. If you're in deep grief right now and you don't feel like going to that upcoming Thanksgiving dinner where you're supposed to express how thankful you are for everything around the table, then without fear of backlash and comment from the family peanut gallery, simply decline the invitation and make no excuses for that. You might say something like, "I'm choosing to be a loving companion to myself this Thanksgiving, and I'll let you know when I'm open to visiting again. Thank you so much for caring." When my mom died, I was working as a minister in Big Bear Lake, California. I had a beautiful church family there. My mom had a period of decline at the end of her life, and her death was expected, and it was very peaceful when it came. And I had the wonderful opportunity to sing her favorite hymns in her ear as she was unconscious and on her way out. So when she passed, in that moment, as she sighed her last breath, I inhaled deeply and sighed with her. She was free. Now, I had some releasing tears, and I had an overwhelming experience as I sat by her deathbed of gratitude for the devotion that woman gave to me her entire life. Now, what I needed with this particular loss was to take a little time for myself. Now, I'm not one to grieve publicly, and not because I'm embarrassed at all, but because my deep work takes place alone. I wish to privately process myself. I talk to myself, I sing, I journal, and I meditate. My loving church family at the time really rallied around me. First came the flowers on my doorstep, then some phone calls, which I let go to voicemail and listen to later. Lots of cards and letters and emails, books, poetry. Then the food delivery started. That was good. All wonderful, all loving, respectful expressions of care. But also came insistent, repeat phone calls. Why aren't you calling me back? Call me back, I'm worried about you. Knocks on the door with unbidden visitors. And then some more aggressive attempts to get me to come over to dinner. Come on, you need to eat. Or go for a walk with them. Okay, so you get the picture. All those things are fine. But what I decided to do, to grieve the way I choose to grieve, was to call a very trusted congregant with a mature spiritual consciousness and share with her something like this. Susie, this is how I grieve. I wonder if you could please pass this on to all my wonderful family. I am doing well in my process. I will be taking care of myself for 1 week. I will be back on the pulpit on such and such Sunday. And I told her, I'm a very, very private person in this experience, and that is not wrong. It may not be appreciated by others whose style of being is to smother me with love. It would have the opposite effect. It would deny me of my deep work that must take place for me, just me, in solitude and silence. And I told her, if this changes, I will call you, Susie, and I will ask for help or visits or whatever it is I think I need. I will email you every single day and tell you how I'm doing. You pass it along. So, that's me. How do you handle your grief? Some of you might be the polar opposite of me. But how we do it is immaterial. The point of all this is to ask for what you want. No one knows what to do for you or what to say to you. What if I say it wrong? What if I make a mistake? Well, you know what? They can't say it wrong or make a mistake if you tell them what you need and what you don't need and what you want and what you don't want. Some people like to be surrounded by people in their grief. They don't want you to leave. They want you to spend the night. It's just another way of being. So that was my lesson. Demand respect for your process. Respect others who are grieving and find out their process. Now, perhaps you could be the perfect person to be someone's support who is grieving, like Susie was to me. I chose her because of her attributes. She could handle my communication and not take it personally, and not take offense. And she would know exactly how to tell others so they could be clear too. So you get the idea. So let's move on and talk about moving on. You are unique, and your grief is unique to yourself. So let's look at how to take care of yourself, in case you don't really know how, to help yourself on how to grieve. The first thing is to stay conscious and witness yourself as well as be yourself. Observe yourself. Have a little part of you that can observe what you are going through. Because that witness is really the I am presence, your own soul, God. That witness is pure and perfect and love and all-knowing, and you have it. And then there's the ego, which is what grieves, what fears loss, what experiences loss, the little I am of us, and that's going through the process. But you also have the great I am, always observing. Now, the other thing is to listen to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. This way, observing keeps you a little bit of distance from drowning. For me, it took a week to come back into the world after my mom's death. Come back into the world, that doesn't mean I was done with my grieving process, but I was capable of being whole and present. I knew this because I checked in with myself to see, what am I going to need to do? What do I want to do? Now, with Lee's death, it took me 3 years to come back to my old self and begin to discover my new self, my new identity. I didn't decide that time amount like I decided for my mom. It's just how when I look back on it, I think, yeah, it took me about 3 months to really start to want to come out. It's just how things unfolded for me. I paid attention. I witnessed myself. I loved myself. I nurtured myself. Then I began, slowly, accepting opportunities, and I rejected opportunities too. I was recently retired, so I didn't have a plan except to redesign my life with Lee, who had also just retired. Well, that dream died with him. So I didn't have a new plan. I was doing really well with my grief. And what I mean by that is I was having it. I was having my grief consciously and fully. And I began having some revelations, I call them, about 3 months in. I felt some happiness and joy, the recognition of the presence of God kind of joy in my soul. And then as I meditated, or began being able to meditate again, to sit in the silence, a little bit of guidance and direction started percolating, kind of popping up. And then one day, poof, I heard about a play audition, and I felt my soul stir. I used to be an actress and love acting, love the theater. When I heard about this play audition, it's the first time I decided to go and audition for it. It was in Cannon Beach, and I got the lead role, and I had the best experience of theater of my life. Stimulating, exciting rehearsals with an inspiring director, new, very talented friends and co-stars. My creative juices were flowing and my mind was occupied with what I loved, not what I lost. Hark, I can love again. I was alive. I was still alive. Now, I share this very personal story as an example of something I did to reinvigorate my soul. When you are ready, I suggest take an inventory of what you love. Pick up a little journal book and remember yourself. Really, what an interesting concept. Remember yourself. What would you most like to have occupy your mind and your heart instead of just pain? Baby steps. Ask yourself, should I find somewhere to volunteer maybe? A short time? A little job? Maybe one day a week? No, maybe 1 hour? No? Okay, self says, no, I'm not ready for that. How about painting and drawing and coloring, even if you don't know how? Just a small diversion could lead to something. If you're not a painter, what are you? A woodworker? You study birds? Do you do ancestry research? Do you write poetry? See if it feels right to pick up where you left off with your hobby or your interest. But in this picking up, don't expect anything in particular of yourself. No accomplishment is necessary. And if that's too big, how about taking a little drive or a little hike with a mission? And that mission could be to find the most beautiful fall or winter tree you've ever seen in your life. Hike and drive until you find it. And when you do, take a photo of it and go home. That's it. That's all. That is all you need to require of yourself today. Or try something you've never done before, even if you don't think you'd like it. I went bowling. It was an experience, and I put 3 fingers in a heavy ball and tried to throw it. What is up with that? If you're a bowler, I'm sorry. There's something good about everything. You can go bowling or don't. Get a massage, a facial, a manicure. Get yourself a new haircut when you're ready. When it's right, do something. Feel something else besides pain if it's only for 60 seconds. When I was in ministerial school for 3 months, my dad died. He had a heart attack, and poof, he was gone. My first loss. I remember the first sunrise after my dad passed. I just stared into it, wondering how in the world the sun could possibly rise if my father was not here for it. Could a new day dare to be born without this man I loved so dearly? My head couldn't wrap around this thing called death. And then I remembered the first time I laughed after my dad died. I gasped. Somehow I thought I might betray my love for him if I felt something other than sadness. It was just a thought. In an instant, and I remember it very clearly. Then the next thought was the realization that I was taking my first step back in from death into life, my life. I then had to learn how to support my grieving mother at the same time that I had grief. Now, through that experience, I learned not to push or rush her to do anything or to be different. Oh, we want so badly to take away someone else's pain. The only real mistake we make is to think it would be a good thing to take someone's pain away. That's actually backwards. We must honor each other's pain. Metaphysicians like us can get in real trouble in this aspect because we want to affirm away the negative and jump right into the positive, right? But the true spiritual lesson has nothing to do with negative and positive. Grief is not negative, and it's not positive. The true spiritual lesson is to be here now. Be with what is, and be with what is not. If right now pain is, then acknowledge it and let it begin the lesson. If you are grieving, be here now. Stay present for whatever comes to you. If you are at home stoking a fire in your fireplace and all of a sudden a memory comes and you start to cry, be with stoking the fire and the memory and the pain. Be here now. If the next moment is full of something else, then go there. Be present, witness, stay open. You're going to be okay. I promise. Now, beyond the subject of grief from loss of a loved one, I want to close today with an expansive note a little bit more about immortality. Because this is the good news. Let us seek peace in knowing the truth about death. Do you know what the truth about death is? There's no such thing. Seek to know more about immortality, about the continuation of life infinitely. The biblical passage that most intrigues me and inspires me, whether I was in grief or not, has always been the words of Jesus. He said, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you." In my Father's house. Now, who is his father? God. Where is his Father's house? The metaphor for house is the universe. That's God's house. So in God's house, God inhabits every part of it in the universe. In my Father's house are many mansions. In God's universe are many mansions. Now, not like those in Beverly Hills. Mansions means dimensions, planes of existence. In God's universe are many dimensions, levels, planes of existence. I don't know about you, but that is very, very exciting to me. There is existence in and the existence of many dimensions other than material earth where we are playing right now, where we are in earth school. So in God's universe, there are many dimensions and planes of existence beyond just this material one. And if it were not so, I would have told you. In other words, that's the truth. I love that additional statement because, this guy, Jesus, knew who he was. He knew from whence he came. He had an earth experience with his feet on the ground just like us. But he also had his head in the heavens, where he could see as God sees, whole, perfect, and complete. So he was an authority for many of us and used his authority, his knowing that God and I are one, he used that authority to heal. He would like us to heal. He would like us to heal our doubts and our finite thinking, our earthly, ground-bound thinking. If your dreams of immortality ever come into doubt, if you ever think this is it, realize that Jesus wouldn't have told us of other dimensions if it weren't true. Your instinct is right. Your soul is right. In our God's universe, there are many dimensions of life that we cannot see from this dimension with these eyes, but they are there. Our loved ones are definitely there, living in another framework, being who they are. And you can bet they are urging us to express our love in another way beyond the pain, because they're doing just fine. They just wish you were too, but they know you will. You will come to your higher mind, to your higher knowing that life is eternal and there are infinite means for your soul's expression. And so it is. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Oh, and we have this opportunity. What a blessing. Thank you. As we move into this holiday season, we get to realize that right where we are right now, everything is present. All of the love, all of the life, all of the grief that calls us forward, that calls our heart to open. So as we take this time to receive our tithes, to just open to these tithes and our love offerings, I know a screen's coming down that shows some of the ways that we can give. You can give through, of course, the website, unityofportland.org. You can text, and you just text Unity of Portland, all lowercase, to the number 833-814-3477, and that number will be up in just a moment. Or you can send a check-in. But part of this is the recognition that we're creating in consciousness a larger understanding of enough of all that we desire to be a part of humanity, where there isn't competition and there isn't you have enough and you don't, but instead we have a world that says there's enough for every one of us to live and be honored. And so we use the blessing, divine love. And I want you to remember that the quantum field that we live and move and have our being in is love. And so when we open to that love, it holds us through the grief. It holds us through. It just simply says, here, travel this journey. So I'm going to say the blessing, and then I'd invite you to affirm it with me. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Let's affirm that together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We just say, thank you, God.
of your fellow man. Lend him a helping hand. Put a little love in your heart. Well, you see it's getting late. Oh, please don't hesitate. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yeah. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, we'll put love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Wait and see. Yeah. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yeah. Put a little love in your heart each and every day. There's got to be a way. Don't you think we gotta start? Don't you think? I'm gonna love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Everyone reach out now. Oh, I know we can, I know we can. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Little love in your food, little love in your food, a 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 little love in food, a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you to all. Be here now and put a little love in your heart. Surround yourself with love and surround those around us. That is what we are truly here to do and to be. And so in just a moment, we are going to close this service with our peace song. And I just want you to remember that this song, the intention of this song is to remember that we're the ones that begin peace. Because when we have it in our heart, when we have it in our mind, when we have it in our very being, then we have the ability to share it with the world. The underlying energy of this universe is love. Our ability to remember the truth of our being and to allow it to move through us, moving out all the stuff, is the journey of this life. Be where you are. Love who you are. Let's stand.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. And let's close with this unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Diane. Thank you, Reverend Sydney. Thank you all. We are so blessed.
Thank you.